mats to get started today. Feet are going to be a little bit wider than hip width apart. You can drop those arms down and just maybe take a few moments to roll those shoulders. So welcome everybody to our Thursday class. I'm glad everybody found the links. Maybe you want to roll your shoulders forward, especially if you've been sitting at the computer. That might just feel nice to get started. And then let those arms be heavy, hands be heavy. You feel your eyes maybe close, gaze soft to the floor. Just take a moment to lift those toes up. Maybe set them down nice and slow. And just feel your body root down into the ground, feeling connected with that mat, with that carpet, with the hardwood. And perhaps notice that little sway. Our bodies like to sway. We're always balancing, always trying to find that center. And take a moment here to check in with your body. What is it feeling? Maybe starting from the feet today and slowly moving up. Is there anything a little twingy, wanting to move? Anything a little sore from all that shoveling? Not judging what you feel, just checking in and noticing, so that as you practice today, you know where you may want to move a bit more, you need to be a little careful to heal. Finishing that scan, we're going to take a deep inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Let's bring our arms into our breath today. So as you inhale, you can let those arms float out to the sides with the breath. And as you exhale, let those arms settle back in. When you inhale, the arms float out. When you exhale, the arms float in. Letting your breath be your own guide in that movement. And perhaps extending your inhale a little bit deeper, allowing those arms to float a little bit higher. And let the exhale match that length. To me, it almost feels like magic. Your breath is actually moving your arms, not your muscles. After your next set, you can open those eyes. We're going to sweep those arms out and up. If you don't have room because of walls, you can go forward and up. That works too. So reach those arms really high. And then let's take the left hand and grab it around the right wrist. Inhale, reach high. Exhale, side bend over. I'm going to my right, so I'm pressing my right heel into the ground as I'm reaching my right arm over. And this is just the beginning of our class, so if your breath starts to get a little tense because you've moved too far, then move up and see if you can continue that nice deep inhale. And exhale. Reaching up high again. Grab left wrist with the right hand, reach long, and exhale, side bend. So I'm reaching over to my left side, reaching out long, but I'm also pressing my left heel into the ground to really activate that stretch from both sides. Coming up high, reaching those arms up. Let's start from behind the back, and you're going to grab the left wrist again, or the right wrist. You're going to bend those elbows, bringing your arms up. And then think about bringing your arms away from your body. A few weeks ago, we were talking about squeezing the shoulder blades together. So maybe you want to try them as well. Release the arms down. Reach behind the back and grab the opposite wrist with that loop. Bend the elbows up. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Maybe think the elbows together. Reconnect with that breath. Especially if you've been typing all morning, this can feel really great. We're going to release those hands. Bring those feet together a little bit closer. Sweep those arms up nice and high. And then let's bend the knees, hinge at the hips, and come all the way down to a forward fold. And really start with really bent knees today. So belly comes to thigh, let that neck and head dangle. Just take a moment again maybe to lift those toes and set them down. And you have the option of staying here or thinking about lifting your hips a little higher. Maybe that pulls a little bend out of your knees, but our goal isn't straight here. Our goal is to actually lift the hips and keep the belly and thighs close together. And then bend the knees, feel the feet as you sweep the hands forward and up, reaching high. Walk the feet to the sides of the mat, toes out, heels in. Bring those hands together and then lower to a squat. And this can be whatever height that feels good to you. Really push those feet into the ground to help you stay up high. Think about lengthening your spine, finding that breath. You guys got this. Bring those hands down in front of you, spreading those fingers wide. We're gonna step back with one foot nice and long to a plank, and you can choose this to also be from the knees or the toes, your choice. And then really push into the ground, connect with those hands as you step the other foot back into your plank from the toes or the knees. Your body, your choice. Pull that belly button into your spine. And then slowly, keeping those elbows in, let's move all the way to the mat. Woo. Bring in those elbows underneath the shoulders, forearms out front. Spread those fingers. Maybe widen those feet at the back of the mat. Let's find our space. So as you're here, you're really pushing down your elbows and your forearms, spreading those fingers wide. Your thighs are relaxing into the mat. Your belly is relaxing into the mat. And then let's make it a little active by gripping the fingertips and almost feel like you can pull yourself forward. So your chest extends a little bit. And Spanx roll-ups. Press the knees into the ground, bring the belly button into the spine. Push into your forearms and come up into almost like a knee forearm plank. And then roll it down so your thighs come down, your hip bones, your belly. You find your Spanx again. And then press those hands and forearms into the ground, knees into the ground. Begin to peel up. And slowly lower. Make sure you touch your Spanx before trying that one more time. Maybe inhaling as you go up. And exhaling as you go down. And then you can lower yourself all the way to the mat, hands on either side of your chest, tuck your toes. And then either to knees or toes, let's press up to plank. Walk yourself back to tabletop. Bump those hips to the left. Look over your right shoulder. Stretching out the neck. Maybe you can see your foot. Coming back to center. Bump the hips to the right. Look over the left. Warm up that neck. And then come back to center. I'm going to tuck my toes, move my sit bones toward my heels as I begin to push the front of the mat away. And I'm going to come up into a down dog. So my knees are going to stay bent for this first one so I can really straighten my arms, stretch my back. Maybe you want to walk dog a little bit. So one knee bends more than the other. And today in down dog, I really want you to think about lifting those hips high. There's so many cues in down dog that we can think about every week. But today, pay extra focus on lifting those hips high. And we're going to walk those feet together at the back of the mat. We're going to look forward. Your left foot can come up just a little bit or maybe a lot. Bend the knee, bring it under your chest, and however you need, help it along. So we're gonna step it forward. So we're in a lunge and we're gonna lower that back knee. This is where if you have that height somewhere close, you might wanna pull it a little bit closer. Once you find that low lunge, we're gonna come on up. And today I want you to think about bringing your legs together, your thighs together. So although they're split, instead of sitting out kind of hanging there, I want you to think, can you pull your legs together to the middle of the mat? And you get your choice of arms. Maybe you want to have them rest on the knee or down the side. Then folding forward over your leg, you're going to take this front foot, put the toes out, the heel out, and the toes out, walking it to the side. So it looks something like this. It's a little wing here, like a sleeping dragon. And this is where you can grab that height if you'd like to put your hands on it, so you can sit up tall with this dragon wing coming out here, working out the hips. And once you've been here for a while, if you choose, you can lengthen your spine, and maybe you want to come onto the forearms. And that can be forearms onto the height, onto the floor, or you can stay up. So I'm having 10 different screens in this class, and most of them off, I cannot see your bodies. This is where I really want you to encourage you to find your own stretch here in the inner thigh, in the hip, maybe in the butt, and find what works best for you. I'm going to come off my height, moving my right hand off to the side of the mat. I'm going to twist toward my thigh and put my left hand on my thigh here. Still stretching the inner ground, working in a little twist. Wherever you are, inhaling and exhaling. Just want to make sure we're still breathing through those poses. And slowly untwist. Toe heel, toe your foot back to center. Hands on either side of the foot. Maybe you want to tuck this back toe, pick up the back knee. Plant your hands, and we're going to step back to plank on the toes or the knees. And then move on back to down dog. Bringing those feet together at the back of the mat. This time we're going to lift the right leg up just a little bit, or maybe a lot. Yogi's choice, look forward. Bring that knee under the chest, and however you get there, we're going to find a lunge on the other side. Lowering the knee, taking the time to find the balance. And today our focus is trying to think about bringing those thighs together, really actively being in that lunge instead of just hanging out today. And then reconnecting with that deep inhale, long exhale. And the reason I cue the breath is because this helps our bodies relax into the movement. It also helps us stay with what we're doing, connecting our breath, connecting our movement together. We're not holding our breath, which can create tension. We're using our breath to help us release and settle into our practice. And also helps us get through those tough times for when this next pose, this dragon pose, can maybe feel a little intense. So coming forward, you're gonna put the toes out to the side, heel out to the side, and the toes again, making that wing. Perhaps grabbing your books or your pillow or your soup pots and holding yourself up in this dragon lunge, reconnecting with your breath. And depending on your own body, some poses are a little easier, some are a little harder. This one for me is one where I really find those long breaths can help me stay in a pose. Then if you'd like, you can lengthen your spine. Maybe you want to go down onto your forearms. Checking in with that breath. Inhaling deep. Exhaling long. Bring some weight into those arms, coming back up. Height can go out of the way. Left hand comes off the side of the mat and you're going to twist towards your right thigh, putting your hand on top. Inhaling deep. Exhaling long. We're going to bring those hands back to center. Heel toe the foot back to center. Tuck the back toes. And it's yogi's choice if you want to step back to plank on knees or plank on toes. And then finding your way to down dog. Maybe adjusting your hands and your feet. And again, thinking about those hips up nice and high. We're going to inhale, looking forward. And we're going to bring that left knee under the chest, stepping forward once again. This time we're going to stay in a high lunge. That back knee is going to stay off the mat. We're going to come up nice and high. This time we're going to reach those arms up. And think of, once again, bringing those thighs together. Nice active lunge. And those arms can come down, and again, they can come onto your height or onto the side of your foot. We're just going to try a little bit of movement here, where you're straightening the front knee just a little bit to move back, and then moving forward into that front knee. So just a little bit of rock here, moving back, moving forward, and using the breath for that movement. So maybe inhaling one direction, exhaling the other direction. And again, the height can help bring the floor to you, give you a bit more balance. And then bringing those hands beside your foot, tucking your back toes. And I'm going to step right back to down dog. If you want to do a plank in the middle or you want to stay in tabletop, ask your body what it wants today, where you're working hard enough to feel it, but not too hard that you're in that horrible sharpshooting pain. Like, inhale, looking forward. Bring the right foot under the body, stepping forward, finding your high lunge on the other side. Reach those arms up. And think about squeezing those thighs toward the inside of your mat. Nice active lunge. Maybe you want to think about squeezing these arms in towards center too. Just noticing how just thinking about this squeezing makes the lunge feel a little bit more muscular, building a little bit more strength. Then we're going to bring the hands down, again on either side of the foot or finding the height. And you're going to inhale one direction, moving back. Exhale, moving forward. Just moving to your own speed. Letting the head just hang down. You can bring those hands on either side of the foot and then stepping back to your plank, your down dog, your tabletop. Then we're going to walk those hands toward the feet, nice and slow, so we come to a forward fold at the back of our mat. And you can really bend those knees to connect the belly to the thighs. And think about slowly raising those hips. And then we're going to sweep the hands forward, push the feet into the mat. As we sweep those arms up, we come all the way up. Hands together through heart center, by our side. Just taking a moment to close those eyes and reconnect with your body. See what it feels like after those moves. I realized I don't have a watch today to check on the time. All right. So standing tall, just for fun, we're gonna let the left foot get heavy, right foot gets light. Bring that knee up, flex the foot. And then this is where the fun part comes in. You're gonna bring the arms to cactus arms. And then really think about stepping forward, stepping forward, stepping forward. Whew, it's almost fall into your step. We're gonna pivot the back toes so they come to the side of the mat. Maybe you wanna walk forward a little bit. Guys are warrior two. That was just a different way to get into warrior two. It's like a practice fall. I like to do a few practice falls this time of year when we start to get ice again. It just helps our body learn how to catch itself, to trust itself that it can catch itself, especially when we hit that ice. So as you reach those arms out and bend the front knee, just check in that both the back foot and the front foot is holding some weight. And bring that gaze over the front fingers. Then straighten that front leg, take a little break. Exhale, bend the front knee. Reach forward with the front arm and bring that forearm onto your thigh. We're gonna reach that top hand up and over into a side ankle pose. Option to stay here with the hand on the thigh, really pushing yourself away. Or perhaps you wanna bring that hand down to the mat of the foot. You get to choose. Check in with that breath. And then let's sweep this top arm, sweep it back around. It's gonna come beside the foot. You're gonna pivot the back toes back in. Other hand comes beside the foot and you're gonna step in about halfway. You're gonna walk those hands forward about a foot length. And you can, again, use that height if you'd like. Flex the back foot and pick up that back leg. This is option number one, doing a nice balance here. If you want to play with your balance further, you can pivot that hip so your foot is pointing to the side. Your right hand's going to feel more heavy. You're going to pour the weight into the right hand and start picking up the left hand as you open to the side. And maybe you want to bring up that hand. So again, this is half moon pose. If you fall out, then you just bring yourself back down, set your hands, flex that back foot and pick up the leg again. Pivot the hip and play around with the hand. And then wherever you are, we're gonna bring the hand down. We're gonna take the back foot, step it to the front of the mat, forward fold. Plant the hands on either side of the feet, and we're gonna walk those feet back to a plank maybe. Find your down dog. And then walk those hands toward the feet as we move to the back of the mat again. Bend the knees, forward fold. Enjoy a little bit of mat traveling today. Push your feet into the ground, sweep those hands forward, and let's come on all the way up. Hands through heart center, by your side. Just check in with your body. Perhaps noticing how one side feels a little more stretched out than the other. And now we're gonna balance out that symmetry. So, allow those eyes to open. Right foot gets heavy, left foot gets light. We're gonna bring up that left foot into a little balance here. Flexing that foot. Bring those arms up to cactus. And then a practice fall, a slow practice fall. We're gonna reach forward and step and catch yourself. Use the wall, use the ground. And then you're gonna pivot that back foot so the toes are toward the side of the mat. Bend the front knee. Reach those arms out. Whew, I'm gonna turn myself around so I can see the screen. So when we're in this warrior two, checking in the front foot and the back foot are both doing equal work. So if you really feel your knee here, push into the back foot and bring yourself up. Gaze over those front fingers, being strong. Finding your breath. Straighten the front knee. Give it a little break. And then bend the front knee. Reach forward with that left arm. Arm to thigh. Reach the top end over to a nice side angle. So really pushing the back foot into the ground so that you can reach that top up and over. Nice long line. Option to also take that arm on the thigh and bring it toward the ground. Your body, your choice. These options are never better or worse than any other. They're just places you can take your practice. Now we're going to take this top arm, sweep behind us till it comes down to the ground. Pivot the back toes toward the front. Step forward about halfway. Walking the hands about a foot in front of us, leaning forward. Flex the back foot and pick up that back leg. First point of balance. Now you can rotate your hip and spin that top foot and leg so it's pointing to the side. Let your left hand get heavy as you begin to pour the weight into the hand and open up to the side. Playing with that arm. And if you fall out, then you just go back to the beginning again. But you have to smile because this is fun. It's not serious. There's no prizes. You're just experimenting with where does my body balance well? Where does it want to practice balancing? Check in with that breath. And then we're going to bring the hands down. Back foot's going to come to the front. Bend the knees, forward fold. Let the head melt. Check in with that breath. Push your feet into the ground. Sweep those hands forward. We're going to come on all the way up, reaching high. Hands through heart center. By your side. And just take a moment to check in with the breath. We're going to open those eyes. Bring the arms out in front of us. And you can bring those feet about hip width apart. Might help with the balance. Inhale, come up on the toes. Lift those heels. And then your challenge is to slowly bend the knees while you're up on those toes and bring yourself down to a nice little toe stand. Moving slowly, you're gonna feel this in the legs, you're gonna feel this in the balance. And when you don't feel like you can go any lower, I want you to stay there and feel your breath. Your heels touch down to see if you can pick them up again. And then coming all the way down, hands to the mat. We're gonna come back on the knees, about knees hip width apart. Just take a moment to sit with a nice tall spine. If you have a hard floor here, you might want to grab a blanket or a second mat for under your knees. But we're gonna come up on the knees, and my knees are about hip width apart. You see here. We're gonna bring our hands onto our front thighs. Feel your chest get nice and proud, shining forward. And then I want you to have your thighs come forward, almost like you're leaning your body back with a straight line. So your thighs come forward, your hips come forward, and then straighten back out. Try that one more time. Thighs go forward, hips come forward. Just a subtle movement. And then come back. All right. Now we're going to take our hands to our back pockets, our jean pockets. Maybe you're going to think about squeezing the shoulder blades together, elbows move together. And we're going to have that proud chest. Maybe you want to gaze up toward the ceiling and move those hips forward. Maybe you want to let your back come back a little bit. Check in with the breath. And then come on up, nice and slow. And we're gonna sit on our knees for a moment. Hands on thighs, spine tall. Now we're gonna try this pose again. And I'm gonna take it a little bit deeper, but you do not have to do that. You can stick with either of the options we just did. This is camel pose and it has lots of different options, lots of growth potential that we can do slowly over the months. All right, you can open those eyes. We're gonna come up high. And I like to tuck my toes and raise my heels for this one. Nice strong back. Put those hands in those pockets. Squeeze the shoulders together, the elbows together. Let the hips come forward, thighs come forward. Chest is proud, leaning back. You can stay here, checking in with your breath. Or maybe you want to take one of those pocket hands and see if you can find your heel. And if that feels good, maybe you want to try that on the other side to find your heel. Really think about those hips still going forward, the chest still being proud, and finding your breath. And if this does not feel good, then put those hands back in the pocket and find a place where the stretch does feel good. You're the boss of you. We want this to feel good. All right. If your hands are on the heels, you're going to put one hand on your pocket, the other hand on the pocket, and slowly come up high. We're going to sit back down on the heels, hands on the thighs. Close those eyes and reconnect with your breath. I inhale. I'm aware of my body. I exhale. I calm my body. We're going to bring those hands down forward, scoop the feet out along the sides, and we're going to bring the legs out in front of us. Flex those feet, sit tall, arms by your sides, and feel that spine grow nice and tall. So you feel energy coming out of your feet, you feel energy coming down out of your butt toward the ground, and then you feel energy coming out of the top of the head. So you're really engaged. L shape, the staff pose. And checking in with that breath. Then you can release the work. We're going to take our right foot and bring it in so it's sitting in a little triangle. Inhale those arms up nice and tall. And then think about hinging from the hips, just like the forward fold. Think about bending at the hip, until your hip doesn't want to go anymore. And then bring those arms down to your leg or maybe to the floor. And then maybe see if your hip maybe wants to go another centimeter or two. And then you can release your head and neck. Just hang and feel that forward fold. And again, you can adjust the pose if you feel more room opens up in your hip. You think about extending your spine forward and hinging at the hip. Or if you notice your breath becomes stunted, it doesn't want to do that nice, even breath anymore, then calm on up until you find that place where you can inhale deep. Exhale long. And enjoy this little stretch. And then slowly you're going to walk those hands back to center, coming up high. Stretch the right leg out in front of you again. Flex those feet. Sit nice and tall, hands along the body. Extend that spine. And really see if you can feel the energy coming out of the feet, down the sit bones into the ground, and out of the head up into the air. Then you can release that work, and we're going to bring the left foot in toward the right thigh. We're going to sit nice and tall, reach those arms high, and then think about hinging at the hips and leaning forward in that hip hinge. And then when your hip doesn't want to hinge anymore, you can bring those hands down to the leg or to the floor. And then maybe you find your hip does want to hinge another millimeter or so. And then you can let the neck and the head relax down. Checking in with that breath. I inhale, I'm aware of my body. I exhale, I calm my body. And just checking in if you want to adjust the pose to still feel that breath and feel the stretch. You can slowly walk those hands back towards your body, sitting nice and tall. We're going to bring the soles of the feet together as you sit tall. So if you bring those feet closer into your body, you're going to be stretching more of your groin. If you walk them up to more of a diamond, you'll be stretching more of your hamstrings, so you get to choose. But I want, wherever you are, I want you to think belly button to spine, sit nice and tall. Maybe you want to grab your shins rather than your ankles, so that allows you to still sit nice and tall. And with an exhale, start to hinge from the hip, moving forward. Again, no rewards, it doesn't have to be far. Your reward is listening to your body and stopping where it wants you to stop. And once you find that hinge, you've hinged as far as you can go, then you can release the neck and the head so they can hang down. And then maybe experiment with holding onto your shins or your ankles or your feet. Just see where you can find a place that supports you in this butterfly pose. These last few poses are more of a yin style. So time and gravity are our friends here. We don't have to force our legs out. Gravity is just going to help over time increase that stretch. And how we help our body feeling good with that is to focus on those nice long breaths. And that way our body knows it's okay. We want gravity to help us in this stretch. I inhale, I'm aware of my body. I exhale, I calm my body. Maybe notice where you feel the breath moving here. Perhaps you feel it more in your back body, or you feel it more in your ribs. Just being curious about that. And then slowly begin to walk those hands up your legs as you begin to sit up nice and tall. You can bring those hands to the outer sides of your legs, bring those legs together. Bring those feet about hip width on the mat, and then slowly walk yourself down onto your forearms, and then onto your back. You can bend the knees, bring them into the chest. Flex the feet, and then start bringing those feet up toward the ceiling. You might not go all the way. Totally depends on your mechanics. And then maybe you want to turn your hips out so your knees come up the side, and that might allow you to bring your knees a little bit lower. You can choose to stay here or to bring your hands up through the center as you peel your spine off the ground. Maybe you want to grab your shins, your ankle, or the top of your foot. And then slowly bring your knees a little bit closer to the earth and see if you can roll yourself back down to the ground. And this is called Happy Baby, because maybe you're rolling around, maybe you might look like a little baby that you've seen. So feel free to smile, because it might feel a little strange or you might be a little self-conscious. But wherever you are in this pose, I want you to inhale deep. Exhale long. And just feel that breath as it travels through your body. And slowly release the feet. Bring those legs together. And then set the feet on the mat. We're gonna open those arms into cactus arms or a T, however much room you have there. And slowly let those knees fall to the right side. Just a relaxed twist so the knees can separate and the shoulder can float. And then you have the option of also looking over the left side to extend the twist. And perhaps noticing with every exhale how your body wants to release a little bit more to the ground. Again, time and gravity can be your friends in these twists. As the longer we stay, the more we can allow our body to relax and settle into the ground. We've spent a little bit of extra time in this twist the last few days after all the shoveling here in Saskatoon. And I found it's really helped me feel a little bit better in the evenings on those 3 shoveling days. You can slowly bring your gaze back to center, knees to center. And allow the knees to fall to the left side. You can move nice and slow. Feels good. You can gaze over the right side. And just observe with curiosity how each exhale allows you to sink a little bit more toward the ground. How gravity and your breath work together to help you find this nice, stretched out position. And you can always take these poses out of the class, like I did with the twist, and just try a pose or two in your day. You don't have to do a full hour every day. You can just find a pose that you might want to spend 5 minutes in. And this is a really nice one. Before bed, after shoveling, before shoveling. As you just feel that exhale draw you closer to the ground. And you can bring the gaze back to center, knees to center. We're going to walk those legs out to the corners of the mat. Letting those legs fall out to the sides. Those arms can sweep down to the sides of our body, back to the palms on the ground. And you can tuck that chin into your chest to find a nice resting place with the back of your head. This time here at the end of class is to just give your body a moment to feel the class. So it gets to feel where it worked a little bit more on the strengthening. Maybe those muscles feel a little warmish or shaky-ish. And it lets you feel where you've stretched out your body. Maybe there feels like there's a little bit more space in certain places. Maybe you've grown a little taller. And also in this last pose, sometimes we notice that maybe we increase time between our thoughts. Maybe things have slowed there a little bit too. And while we lay on our mats today, I encourage you to try 3 breaths to the count of 5. So you think I inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. I exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. I inhale, keep counting. Practicing those long counted breaths with no movement other than the movement of our breath at the end of practice. This can also add a little bit to the slowing of those thoughts. If you have some time in your day and you wish to stay here longer, feeling your body just melt into the ground, counting your breath, you're very welcome to. And if there's things that you are committed to at 1 o'clock and you want to begin to move, you can wiggle those fingers and toes. You can rotate those wrists and ankles. Maybe move your neck from side to side. Let one foot melt to the mat. Plant the other foot on the mat. Reach those arms up and overhead if there's room there. And then slowly roll on over onto your side body using your arms as a pillow. And take this moment to think of one thing that you are grateful for today. Anything at all. Now let's plant the top end into the mat and slowly come up to a nice comfortable seat. That can be on your knees. It can be in a cross-legged position. You roll those shoulders back and sit tall. Bring those hands to heart center. Taking a moment to notice how you feel, how today's practice affected your body and your mind. And we're going to end with a deep inhale. Long exhale through the mouth. Letting that practice go. All of it. We did good. We moved. We breathed. We connected together in this practice. So thank you so much for joining me today on this Thursday Noon Hour. I hope to see you next week. If you have any questions about today's practice, reach out to us at Wellness in the comments, and enjoy the rest of your day. See you later.
Right on. Good job, Sarah.
Thank you.
See you later.
Glad I can run it again.